Hello, friend. It's a matter of great pride for AMAS Institute that we have today with us one of our successful candidates, Aditya Singh, who cleared his SSB for TS 44 from 24 SSB Bangalore on 15th October 2020. Today, he is coming and speaking to us on the Zoom platform and sharing his secrets of success and how he prepared. Aditya had done 2 weeks of our online course, that is online 7, and thereafter almost after a month he had gone and appeared in his ssb and he cracked it in his first attempt. So over to Aditya now, and let's listen to him how he prepared for ssb and how he cracked it.
In Amasa, we are the ones who are actually practicing, and you, with your guidance and the way you corrected us about our after every psych test, and the way, sir, you explained the GTO task specifically, like because in GTO, I remember, sir, like, seeing all the modules had you explained in the small modules and how the different ways you taught us, sir. Even I had the same apprehension, sir, like all the other candidates will have right now before going to the SSB, because it was my first attempt, and I was like, I won't know about the obstacles and not seen them in real life. So how will I face them, sir? But the way, sir, you explained the G2 obstacles, the way you told us to go about it, specifically learning the concept of the how to go about like making a curriculum and putting the effort, all this covered together, sir, was really well taught for GTO, sir. And for psych, sir, the number of practices which we are given. Because, like from what I learned from my experiences, in psych test, there are only two things which we'll have to look at. First, we have to make a positive story. Second, there has to be a successful outcome. Maybe a story, maybe a word, maybe a SRT. So, sir, in that, the way we practice here in Amas and the way you had guided us, like even I made a lot of mistakes and a lot of times. And there were small, genuine mistakes. The way you told us, yes, don't do this, so that you're able to correct it further in the SSB. So that is one of the very good things, sir. And then, sir, Ghost, sir, even took my interview. And it was with the entire class, and I had it online, sir. So that gave, so I was a little more anxious than the others must have been, sir. So, but then the interview was very thorough. Sir did cover almost every part of it and the way it was supposed to be conducted. So that regardless of being online or being offline, so almost all the aspects were covered entirely. And I gained enough confidence after the 2 weeks that yeah, I'll be able to face the SSC.
Well, so well said, Aditya. You have told us that the online platform you could pick up the things, and especially your experience of interview, the practices of psychology as well as the practices of GTO. Now, when
Yes,
you
sir.
went there after we finished with the online, how did you find things were the same what we were practicing, or they were very different? How did you handle that? Start from a stage one experience.
Right, sir. So like what I heard from my previous, like the friends who've gone for previous SSB, so like the reporting is comparatively less as COVID is going on. But then, so after I reached, it was quite shocking. So because I guess around 390 or something candidates reported in my screening the first day, and it was like even the SSB was not prepared that there'll be such huge amount of candidates who will be reporting. So it was slightly chaotic in initially. We had a documentation and everything. After getting through, sir, the OIRs, sir, like Afsana Mehmet suggested one of the Aryan books, which I even bought after like taking the coaching from AMAS. After that, I practiced that book, sir, and I didn't find any difficulty in OIRs, both the first set and the second set. Both were quite easy, and I suppose I was able to do 90-95% of them correctly. So OIRs, so that Aryan's logical reasoning book is pretty good. Apart from that, sir, coming to PPDT, my PPDT picture was two women sitting across a table, and there was a staircase in the background. So generally, the what the group perceived was it was more of them, some of them having a conversation, some of them said it was a home scene in which two people are talking. So after reaching the SSB, I realized that there are way more different perceptions what people seek than what we actually are having. So
Just a minute. Yeah. So after that, once you have got screened in, then let's talk about the other tests which you went through. The psychology must have been on the first day. Aditya, the network issue. Aditya, are you there?
Yes, I might have a slight net issue, sir.
Yeah. So,
Am I audible, sir?
yeah, now you're audible again. So, after stage one, what was the next this thing, and how did you handle the psych and the GTO part? How did you handle the psych test and the GTO and the interview?
All right, sir. So screening in was again a task. So out of 390, sir, I suppose 57 of us got screened in, sir, on the
Okay.
first day. And
Mhm.
in that, sir, it was so we had a documentation. Then the next day we had a psych test, sir. So for psych test, sir, we started with TAT. There were about 12 pictures. Most of them were quite similar to what we had done in Amas. So I won't say they were exactly the same pictures, but the plot which we have discussed here, or the plot which you generally have an idea about out of 12, like out of 11, so about 4 or 5 of them were exactly like you can write a story on the same plot. And they were quite easy, sir. They were like quite easy to depict from. And so
Mhm.
the rest of them, like they were quite understandable. And TAT went well, so I was able to do most of them. And for a blank story, I'd already prepared one, sir, and I made it regarding like this was also amongst the stories. One of them which we discussed here in Amas itself. I
Mhm.
did it about a NDRF officer, sir, who initiated a team and made a rescue operation about one of the floods which has
That
occurred.
was your blank
And
story. Okay.
that was my blank story, sir, because
Okay.
like I didn't want to write anything COVID related, sir. I thought
Hmm.
I'll write something with like I'll write about that.
Yeah,
So the
COVID is become too routine now, right?
most out of 57, so almost about 52 of them, from what I got to know, wrote about COVID itself, sir, from what we
I see.
discussed.
Okay.
So that was one of my blank stories. So then coming to W80, so I was able to attempt all of them. And so W80, 95% of the words get repeated, sir. If
Oh.
like after the practice here at Amas and the booklet which we are provided with, so if you're able to do all of them, so
Hmm.
95% of them are repeated, and you just have to have the right speed in W80.
Great.
So SRTs, sir, luckily I had practiced enough, so I was able to attempt all 60 SRTs.
You attempted
Uh,
all 60. That's very
yes, sir,
nice.
I attempted all 60, sir.
Very good.
And but like a mistake which I was doing during the time we were here at like I was being guided at Amas was I was trying to write very lengthy solutions. I was
Hmm.
writing the first 2 steps, and then I was even trying to conclude it. So because of that, so like because of lengthy answers, I used to usually miss out about 10, 11 of them in the end. So instead of that, so now I kept it short and crisp. That I covered the 3 steps into 2 steps, and I was able to answer all of them in time, sir. And similarly for self descriptions, I kept it very simple. I didn't want it to be very boasty out there that I don't have any negatives. I kept it a very simple front. I told my positive sides, what my parents think, what my friends think, what my teachers think. I took all the views. I made it and I already planned it. I had written it down well. And the one advantage what I even got, so that I had already practiced my SG 3 or 4 times. So as I did that, so I was able to finish my SG in less than 3.5 or 4 minutes, sir. So I got that one extra minute, and I went like I even if there was any SRT in the end, 59th or 60th one, I even attended that, sir. So that happened. So the psych test went well. So I was confident that I've done well in that. And so interview also, my like we were supposed to have an interview on the next day, but then suddenly I got a call. I just got a call 15 minutes before that. The sir told me that I'll have my interview right now. So we
Oh.
were because I was like chest number 10, sir. So they said only chest number 1 to 5, 15 to 25. Like this, they had given slots, and they told me my interview is not there. But then suddenly they told me in 15 minutes you have to report to your interviewing officer, and you cannot be late. So I had to rush from
Okay.
the mess, sir. I changed, and I went for my interview, sir. And my interview was amongst the longest. It lasted about for 55 odd minutes, sir. The entire interview. It started
Okay.
with the same, sir. The way we have the interview which was conducted here. We had the first CIQ of education, sir. And my comparatively, what I felt, sir, that CIQ education was very long, sir. As you were saying, sir, because we are students, I'm coming
Hmm.
right after my class 12. So my CIQ education was very long, sir, and they were about 16 odd questions, sir, in one set. And the sir just said it in a very, so it was very tough to grasp it, but then I was able to figure out what he was asking. And as we're already practiced here once, the way of speaking, the way of conducting, and how to go about an answer. Because the most important thing which I felt was to be a comprehensive about your answer, sir. Giving a detailed answer so that the interviewing officer is able to understand. That's he has understood the question. He's able to figure out what I'm trying to ask, and he's able to answer it in correct way. So I gave a very comprehensive answer for the CIQ. So I had education, and then I had a CIQ of the family, sir. There's pretty much the same amount of questions about my parents, about my grandparents, how I spend time in the family, and most of these were related to the same. There were one or two questions varying, sir, like the probing questions, but then there was pretty much around the same plot, sir. So my even CIQ family was pretty similar to what we had discussed here, like how all of the candidates will be practicing here from the interviewing officers. And so then I had my CIQ hobbies, which is pretty short. So they just asked me, what are your hobbies and why do you pursue these? So I explained it, sir. And so the main was my GK and current affairs, sir. I was around about 30 or odd questions I was asked from only GK and current affairs, sir.
Really?
So
My God.
yes, sir, my interview, like my first CIQ part of my interview ended in the first 25 to 30 minutes, sir. And the next 25 minutes, I was only grilled on current affairs and GK, sir. And military knowledge also, sir. Like I was even asked questions like, so I wanted to join armored, sir. I wanted to join my dad's father's unit. So he
Yeah.
even asked me the question, sir, who was the first commandant of the unit when it was raised?
My God.
So sir, for military knowledge, they made sure, so they even asked me all about the which all tanks are there in Indian Army, which all tanks are there in Pakistan Army, which were the
Okay.
new night sights which have been inducted on the tanks. Then this was there for military knowledge. Then he even asked me about the first commandant. Then he asked me how many armored regiments are there in the Indian Army. Then this was there on army military knowledge, and then current affairs. So what happens is, like, what I felt that the current affairs will be just related to, he will be thinking how aware you are at this current moment. But
Right.
so what he is looking at is, sir, he wants to know from January. Like, he asked me, you tell me 10 current affairs from January to till today.
Right.
So basically, he's trying to see, sir, if you've just tell them, yes, sir, this is
Right.
all I've prepared. So this was that. So then I got a few questions on, sir, like a lot of crisis between countries. He asked me about Turkey, Greece, Turkey, Syria crisis. Then he asked me about, sir, he asked me about, so I'm a lot into badminton, sir. So I got about 8 or 9 questions regarding badminton current affairs. Who is the top 3 players right now? Which was the last tournament? What is Super Series tournaments? What is a clear shot? All these things, sir. This was also there. And so apart from that, then basics of, like, about the neighboring countries, which you told, sir, which is important. Who is the
Yeah.
prime minister of this? What was the conflict in 2017?
Right.
Things like that, sir. Then my interview was about 55 minutes. It ended well. And he even asked me about my NDA, sir, because the NDA result was out on 9th October, sir. And
Okay.
our SSB was starting from 11th October.
Yeah.
So luckily, I've cleared both the attempts for my NDA attempt also, sir. So I told him about that, so he was pretty happy. And then one more question obviously came, sir, why will you join TS over NDA, with NDA having a more prestige background? So
Right.
I told him, sir, that I want to go for a technical background, which will be beneficial for me in every front, specifically
Right.
seeing the warfare and the entire world being more technologically advanced. So this was the answer I gave on these lines, sir. And so my
So
interview went well. So it was, yeah.
how was
Yes,
the
sir.
conference then? When you went for the conference? So in
Sir.
the conference, what was the feeling before the conference, and what did they ask you during the conference?
Sir, feeling before the conference, sir, like I was confident about most of my everything. Sir, my psych went well, sir. Similarly, even interviews, so whatever I could perceive from it went
No,
well.
we
And
have forgotten about the GTO part. I think we
yes, sir, yes,
missed
sir.
out the GTO. Yeah, first cover the
Sir.
GTO part.
Sir, being confident about these two, sir, and GTOs are being taught by you, I was sure, sir, that this is something I'm looking forward to. And hearing from everyone, it was supposed to be the most fun part of it, sir. So by GTO, sir, the GD top, we got GD topics. One of them was, why is India a superpower? And they gave us 3 leads, being economy, infrastructure, and military. So I took the lead of military, sir, and I gave about 15, 20 points in it. Then, so the next topic, which is given a social topic, was, what is the most important character in a candidate's life? And personal ambition, team spirit, or integrity. So I took team spirit as a character, sir, and I took as a lead, and I spoke about, again, about 15, 20 points. And so one of the major pointers for all the candidates, sir, that as soon as the GD topic is given and the GTO says, now you can start talking, sir. So there's usually a 1 minute time gap. Nobody's talking. Everybody's just looking at each other, waiting for someone to start. So both the times, sir, I took that point. Both the times, outside, he said, now you can start discussing. Everyone looking at, I started talking, sir. So I was able to give 2 or 3 points, good points initially itself. So
Okay.
that played in my favor, sir. Apart from that, sir, then I, for group planning exercise, one of the things which I was not able to perform very well in GTO, sir, that I couldn't write the entire solution. I was able to write my 3.5 solutions as well. 4th one I couldn't complete. So I was feeling a little apprehensive about it. But then I covered that up in my group discussion, sir. In the GP, I gave about maximum solutions. I got the entire group together. And they nominated me also, sir, to give the final group solution. So luckily, I was able to explain my entire written part in it, so I didn't feel that bad about it. But then I covered it, sir. Then coming to PGT, sir, PGT 1 was pretty easy, sir. As you have told us that it will be direct flanking. So I got the group, we got the group, the whole group spoke together. We told them it's easy. Let's just discuss the points together and then put it. So the first one you will to cross the PGT 2 was also, so we had to put we had to make a bridge and also. It was slightly difficult, but it was fine. We were able to manage to. And so for PGT3 was like what our GTO told later was one solution task, sir, which I was not aware like this also happened. So we were given a temple dome, sir, and there was a ring on the temple. And so that took us a lot of time, but luckily we our group did all the 4 PGTs, sir. And then, sir, after that was group obstacle race. In group obstacle race, the main thing is if you think you're physically fit and if you can carry the team, I'll suggest sir, do be in the front. I was in the front with one more of my friends, and and you have to keep shouting a slogan. You need to show that you are actually involved in the task and you are there for your entire team. You're supporting everyone. If someone is feeling a little demoralized, motivate him and make sure he comes with you. So I was shouting the slogan entire time, sir, and even climbed the walls before and helped all of them to
What
climb
was
up.
the slogan you people choose for your
Sir, ye
team?
dil mange more.
Ye dil maange more. Okay, right.
Yes, sir, Captain Vikram Batra. So, sir, and then, sir,
Okay.
as you even told me, sir, it's better if you help others in your
Hmm.
GOR, sir. So I climbed both the walls on my own first, sir, and then I even helped the others to climb it. So
Okay.
that I felt was a positive thing that came out. After that, sir, came HGT. HGT, sir, I was confident because the task which I got was sir, the out of the 3 obstacles that were there in one line, sir, I probably seen one or two. You are only taught us, sir, how to go about it.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
and that was the first obstacle. So I was very confident. I'll only start this,
Yeah.
and I told
Hmm.
him, guys, this is a very good solution. We can start. And as soon as my group members, 4 others of them, they saw he knows how to do this, they all agreed with me. So I was the one who tied the rope, I tied the plank, and we were able to cross it. So HGT went well as well. And for my lecturates, I got 4 topics. One was VSAT, foreign trade, war on drugs, and consumer rights. So I chosen foreign trade, sir, and I covered the entire aspect as I started from the Silk Route times, the Britishers' time, how it initially started to Atmanirbhar Bharat. So I covered the entire aspect in a flow, and I was able to talk for 3 minutes. So that even went well, sir. So this was the GTO day once, and coming to GTO day two, sir, it was individual obstacles, sir, in the initial. And luck would have it, it rained that day sir, in the morning itself. So all obstacles were very slippery, sir.
My God.
So
Then-
I told I was able to, I guess I did 10, so I was able to do all 10. But then
Okay.
I did end up taking a lot of time in the balance beam, sir.
Hmm.
Because what has happened if any candidate has gone, the mud was still there. So I was
It
trying to
become
balance.
balance beam becomes slippery during rains. I
Slippery, yes,
understand.
sir. So because of that, sir, I had to like hurry a lot during my last like Tiger Leap and all. I just jumped directly, sir. I was not even thinking about it. So
Okay.
I happened, it went well. So I was able to do 10. I thought I was planning to do 11, 12. I was hoping I'll be able to do more, but it's fine, sir. Then coming to command task, sir, my command task was very tough, sir. And sir, you had told us that if your command task is tough, means you're doing well in your GTO.
Hmm.
And so my command task was a moving task, sir, in which there was a type of a swing which was given,
Hmm.
and in that swing, sir, and there was no obstacle, like there was no structural obstacles around it, sir. Hello.
Ah. Yeah, Aditya, I can hear you. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes, you're audible. Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Sir, for my command task, sir, I was given a movable structure, sir, and there were no structures or obstacles around it, sir. So it was very confusing for me.
What
And
was
even the
helping
first,
material? Helping
uh,
material?
so it was a plank, balli, and a rope, sir. I had 2 ropes, sir. Instead of
Two.
one rope, I had 2 ropes, plank, and a balli, sir. And they were
Okay.
same two structures each and 3 ways to go about it.
Okay.
Like my first obstacle, I was able to tackle. So I took about 5 minutes in that. I figured out a way. I had to put there was a loop given, so like there was a metal pillar and there was a loop. So you have to put the bully and then you have to tie it again. So I did that. The first one, second one was a swing, sir. And the GTO our GTO ma'am told the ma'am told me that you're not allowed to use this obstacle now. Now you have to use the you have to get your last man. 2 of you can move ahead and you have to get your last man from the other obstacle. Basically, she made that obstacle invalid, sir. So now she pushed me the movable structure, and in the movable structure, I took a little time, so 2-3 minutes, and then I somehow solved it. In the last structure, sir, which was there, she changed the situation about 10 times, sir. First, she
Oh my
removed.
God.
First, she was like, the white is blue now. Now you cannot use one rope. Now you cannot even use the second rope. Now this obstacle is not available. This part is not available. So
Mhm.
she changed it a lot, sir. But then I was able to complete the task. I did it in about 10-12 minutes. And
Right.
that ended. And the final group task, sir, was what we was told that it's only for bonding and you should just perform as a team together. But so I still wanted to do it, and I was still ahead. I was like, I'll take the team, we'll do it. And
Hmm.
then in the end, ma'am was a little fed up, so she told us, no, you like 2 of us were there, sir. She told chess number 10 and chess number 6, you will stand there, you won't be moving ahead after this. Then she told all the others to go ahead, so we were just standing with the load there. But
Okay.
then it was all fun, sir. So these were
Right.
the 3 tasks. When coming for conference, sir, so as usually like the conference in SSB start around 9:30, sir. But for us, it was told at 6:30 we have to be ready with our luggage down because we have 57 candidates.
Oh,
So
yes.
with
Right.
after packing everything, we were there at 6:30 and our conference started. So when my number came, sir, first the CHM told us about the conference hall and all, how you have to go about it and everything. We explained, we were clear. All of us were a little anxious, sir, because it was the final day and we were finally going to get the result. But I went for my conference. I was made to wait for about a minute or two. So I was a little surprised that I thought, like, because what I've heard as stereotypes, so that if you're a good candidate or they discuss a lot about you. But then for me, so they just called me in about 1.5 minutes. So I got a little more anxious. I'm like, it's okay, it's fine. I went there, sir. So the president of the board told me to sit down. I sat down, sir. I greeted everyone, and after that, so my interviewing officer was from another board, sir, because we were 59 candidates. So he was also present. He was the one who was asking me questions. So first, they asked me about my stay, sir. How was it, and what are the points? So I answered, how was my stay? I told them there was a lot of learning experiences, and this they took forward, sir. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
sorry,
audible.
the connection is a little bad, sir. Yes, sir. So in my conference, so they asked me, sir, like, what are the learning? So I told them the experience was very good and I learned a lot. So this was the point which they took, and they were like, fine, tell us two constructive things which you learned during your stay in SSB. So the 2 points which I mentioned was the first one being, even though all of the candidates are competing to get recommended, but the team spirit amongst us never died down. All of us made sure we were there for each other and we helped each other throughout of it. So this being the first point. The second point I told, the cultural integrity which we shared. There were candidates coming from Jammu, Kashmir, Kerala, all the way around India, and all of us had our own tales to tell, our own experiences to share. So that really bonded us. So these were the two qualities I told them. So what I mainly learned, and then they asked me for a one constructive suggestion which I gave, sir. So my conference ended in that.
Right. So I think, Aditya, you have in 15, 20 minutes taken us through this complete 5 day SSB very interestingly. And I
So
think all the students who have listened to you would be very clear about how you handled. Of course, you handled it very well. Now, any one of you has got any questions, especially the TES boys, in case you want to ask anything to Aditya, or otherwise I will have one or two questions from my side in the end. Anybody wants to ask any specifics rather than asking what was the GT topic, lecture topic, which he's already told you? Anything specific to SSB you want to ask?
Aditya, how you get so much of fluency in speaking English?
Right. So my fluency, which I've developed in English, I recommend is, sir. So what you can do is you can start recording yourself. Specifically, when you're talking about lecture topics and GD topics, put your phone in front of you and record yourself, sir. After that, what will happen is, sir, when you'll hear yourself 1 or 2 times, you will try to realize these are your mistakes. What you're doing, you can go on the internet. You can search for the correct pronunciation on how to go about, like, what are the ways you can improve. And on YouTube also, there's a lot of amazing ways. And even the amas, like the coach guidance, there even instructors will tell you how to go about it, and they even have a fluency course, English spoken course, so you can even take that. And that is one of the good ways of which you can just record yourself, see how you are speaking, where you're going wrong, and just correct yourself. If required, you can even take guidance from elders or whoever, sir.
Good.
Thank you.
Anybody else wants to ask any questions? I hope Akash he's able to answer you. So keep that in mind.
Yes, sir. Satisfied.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to ask any question? Any other entry also doesn't mean only TES entry. You can ask Aditya. Anything SSB is the same for all of you.
Sir, I think he's a little fast. So does that play any role on pushing backwards?
Fast and speaking, you mean?
Yeah, yes, sir.
No, that Aditya is doing now, but I'm sure in the discussion or something, that time he's speaking in the normal pace as others. Am I right, Aditya?
Sir, actually, I found it beneficial, sir, because of me.
Okay.
I generally talk a little faster. That's what people
As
have
I
told me.
generally talk.
But because
Okay.
of this, sir, I was able to put all my points through, sir. What happens in the discussion is that everyone is trying, after like 2-3 minutes, the discussion starts. Everyone will indulge, sir. They'll repeat their points, but they want to make sure they're speaking. So because of being a little fast, I was giving my points. But in the interview, yes, sir, I slowed my pace down a lot. I was talking in a very decent, normal tone, sir, so that he was able to get my views clearly.
Okay, good. Yeah. Anybody else? Any more questions? Yeah. If there are no more questions, I would just take this time to thank Aditya for joining us from Secunderabad. Aditya, presently at Secunderabad only?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And the college has online classes. So in between, he took out this time from his classes. So we are really grateful to you, Aditya, and we really wish you a very high position in the merit of TES. And if you're going for NDA also, I'm sure you will make it in NDA SSB also. So once again, thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you all the best in your life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, sir. Thank you, sir.